Hi, everybody. Can you believe I have no comments again? Give me 1 second. I'll open my iPad. If you're there and can help me out during the broadcast, I would appreciate it. Thanks for joining me tonight. We're going to be making this stuffed envelope, or a 3D envelope actually, and it's a card. I'm just trying to get into my group, and I'm there. I do. Just have to get some bags because I forgot to pull them. So, like I said, I have no comments. I'll watch them on my iPad. I know. I don't know what's going on with the comments. It's crazy. And before we get started, if you place a $25 order by Monday, I will send you a swag bag. I believe there's going to be 15 sheets of designer series paper, and it's not necessarily going to be this. And then you'll get a roll of Terran tape, foam tape, a dozen paper flowers, a craft eraser, 3 feet of ribbon, and a stamping spot. And I'll get that in the mail for whoever makes a $25 purchase. Hey Sheila, how are ya? Hi, Carol. The sound is in and out. Okay, I'm I'm in the process of having my internet changed because I know it is on my end. So, just so you know. But I'll be doing this 3D card, and when you open it, this is what the inside looks like, or the back side. It's a card on the back, and you have your area to write your sentiment, or you could stamp it. I did not. And tonight I am going to be creating this with the Stampin' Up! Envelope board. And before I get started with the board, because I know it's not available, some people do still have one, but if you don't, our Stampin' Up! Scoreboard does not have one. But there are some scoreboards that have the envelope corner. If you don't have an envelope corner, you can just cut a corner off of a piece of cardstock or cardboard. Yes, where are you, Sheila? I was just watching the weather, one of the guys we follow, and the tornadoes are terrible. I hope that you stay safe. So if you don't have one of these envelope corners, you can take a piece of cardstock, Georgia, okay. I know they're in Alabama, right at the border, I think, of Alabama and Georgia right now. And when you cut it, if you do cardstock or cardboard, this side and this side is 6 inches. So then you would cut it diagonal, and your diagonal would be 8.5, about 8.5. Yep, 8.5 inches. So you can actually make this, this 3D envelope with one of the corners. If you don't have a scoreboard, I will add the directions for the scoreboard in the PDF, but you would score it at 3.5 and then 3 1/8. So what I would do is I would take my cardboard or piece of paper, and then this one's not going to work. Let's do it this way. Mark it down at the 3.5, so you know that's 3.5, and then the 3 1/8. And so this way, when you have your corner in here, you know where you have to score. So I'll have the directions to that also on the PDF. Oh, sorry, Carol. I'm not sure what it is. It's probably my internet because, like I said, I don't even have my comments anymore on my videos. Okay, so let's get started. I'm using the Ornate Garden DSP. Now, if anybody's not aware, as a demonstrator, we got to see the new catalog. The new paper is amazing. There's some awesome new stamp sets. It's always so exciting to be able to see the new catalog and all the new products. But it's also sad because we're saying goodbye to a few of our favorites. Like the subtle embossing folder is leaving, which is sad. But I'm using Bumblebee as my base, and I'm using the Ornate Garden to decorate. And I just have to grab a piece of white cardstock, just so I have it, because you'll see that there's some white in the back. So we'll get started with this. The Bumblebee is 8 7/8 by 8 7/8. Now, if you do have the envelope punch board, what we're going to do is create our envelope. So we're going to put our paper on the 3 7/8 mark. And we're going to punch, and then you'll take your stylus and run your score line down the side. And then we're going to move it down to 4 3/8. Do the same and run the score line. Okay? Now we're going to do this now that we did this side, we're going to do this side and this side. We're going to leave the top because we want this to be the top of our envelope. So we're just going to turn it, and we're going to do it again at 4 7/8. Well, actually, we have to just want to make sure I'm doing this. Yep, 4 7/8. think I'm doing this right. Just want to make sure before I mess this up. Three. I think I did mess it up. Don't mind me. I just have to check. You hear me okay? Okay, dear. Give me 1 second. Let me just cut another piece because I think I put it on this wrong score mark. I was looking at the wrong information. Never fails. 8 7/8. Okay. Okay, so 8 7/8. So we're going to go to 3 3/8. I just want to make sure that doesn't look right. Okay, we're going to do 4 3/8. Whoops. And run our score line. Now it's going to, we're not going to be able to go all the way down. So 4 3/8. And we're going to punch and run our score line. 4 3/8. 3 3/8. Sorry about that. And run our score line. That's not, how come it's not working for me? Because 4 3/8 is too much. All right, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I messed it up again. So that's 2 down. I guess I'm ill prepared. It's been one of those days. I know I can get it right. Okay, so here's our scoreboard. We want it to be flush up against the side. So we're going to put this corner flush against the side, and you'll notice it's a little bit big. So we're just going to lift it up a little bit. Make sure it's flush against your corner piece. Oops. And I'm going to start this over. So we'll just pretend I didn't do anything. So like I said, we'll mark it at 3.5. And we're going to run our score line down 3.5. And then we're going to score it at 3 1/8. Just like that. Now we want our top piece not to have any markings, so we'll leave this one. We're just going to rotate it. And again, make sure your point is hitting. It's going to be up a little. Just going to do the same thing. 3.5, 3 1/8. Rotate it again and do the same thing. 3.5, 3 1/8. Okay. Now the reason we're not doing, like I said, the fourth corner, because we don't need to, plus we want this piece to be flat. with no markings on it, because when you open up the card, you would see the markings on the back. So now that we have this piece, our ornate garden piece is 8.5 by 8.5. And I just want to make a mark here so I can, because I need the scoreboard again. So I'm just going to use the scoreboard again before I go on. And this way, this one's all finished. So this one should fit, and it does. And I just want to look at my marks, grab my stylus, and here they are. It is going to be 3.25. Quarter, 2 7/8, and rotate 3.25, 2 7/8. Okay, so that's good. We're done with that. Let's put this away, and then we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so let's go back to our piece. Now what we're going to do is fold on all our score lines and give it a good burnish so the edges are nice and crisp. And we're not going to glue anything together yet, but let me just grab my scissors, if I can find them. And down here on the corners, we're going to cut out these little triangles, just like this. Okay, so we took out those little triangles, and then we're going to cut down the score line to make a little tab. Just like that. Just angle it a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Just cut off those little triangles. Just like that. Just snip that a little bit. And then cut up on the tab, and I'm still on camera here. And just give that a little notch. So when it folds, we're going to attach these two little tabs, and it's going to fold together. Oops. Just like this. Okay? But first, what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to the DSP, because we want to add the DSP before we start assembling the envelope box. So let me just grab my cutter. It's going to be a little difficult to see, but what you're going to do is you're going to cut on your score lines. And let's see if it's easier to see it on this side. So I'm just going to line the score lines up with the cutting ridge in the score. Cut these pieces apart. This is going to be an extra piece. Now when it comes to the DSP, we do have a little bit of finagling to work. work out with the pieces, because when it comes, we want a little bit of an edge on the envelope itself. So we just cut off these corners. So here's our pieces for our envelope. And then here's the piece for the actually the card that's going to be attached. But before we close this up, let's just take a look. We want, about 1/4 of an inch edge, and we're going to want 1/4 of an inch on these edges and on the bottom. So we're just going to trim this. Let's trim it about 1/8 of an inch on each side. Let's do it this way. I just want to take off a little tiny bit on each side, because I want just a little on the edge. Oops, wrong side. So let's see how that looks. And this is just, we're using this as a template right now. Okay, so that's nice. Now I just want to take a little bit off the bottom. The edge is not straight. And that should work pretty good. It's going to fit on the card, and we're going to use this also as a template for the insert for our envelope. So while we're here, we'll measure this out. It's about 5 1/4. So let's cut 5 1/4. Just like that. Make sure we have, yep. And then we're going to open this up a second. We're just going to mark this. Just put little marks. This way we know where we're going to cut it. And we're going to line up our marks again with the ridge in our cutter. And just cut that corner off. And again, line up our little marks and cut the corner off. Now we don't have a crisp corner on the top, which is fine, because we're going to use the corner punch. Let's just check to make sure this is good. Yep, that looks good. Now we're going to grab our card. This is going to be the card for the back. And this actually measures 10 1/2 by 8 1/2. Put it 5 1/4. And we're just going to fold this up. This time we're gonna line up at the top and grab our pencil, and we're just going to, we may have to trim this piece again, but we're using it just so we can get this card for the back finished. just like that. Line up our lines again. Okay, so now we have our card back. Now this is going to fit back here. Just like this. And while I have the cutter, let's just check to see what's going on here. And we do have to cut off some more. Let's just line this up. And we'll cut here and here. And then we have to cut the bottom. And we're just making tiny little marks, getting all our cuts done for these pieces. Let's do it this way. This side we only have a little tiny piece to cut off. This side we have a good sized piece to cut off. And this one looks like okay, that looks good. And then let's check it one more time. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so those pieces are done. Now before I put the cutter away, let's just pull in this piece, because these pieces are going to go on to these triangles, and that one looks good. Okay, this one looks like it's going to need a little trimming. And we'll get this here, and this here. And then this one, it's just off just a tiny bit. That side looks good. This side will do right there. Okay, so where they're only tiny little pieces, I will get rid of this. Grab on to my scissors, and we're just going to trim these up. If I know that one was good. This one has a little mark right here. And this one has a little mark right there. And we have a little mark right here. Okay, so now we have our pieces. This is the top. Let's refit. This one goes here. This one goes here. And this one goes here. So we're just going to glue these pieces in place. Sorry about my arm. I just want to, I'll answer any questions or look at the comments after. I think tomorrow I'm going to take a quick run to my internet provider and up my service, because I'm thinking that's what my problem is. Okay, so we're just gluing these pieces into place, making sure, we have a nice edge and that they're even. the TV inside. No, my husband is just going to trim this one a little bit right here. Watching the tornadoes that are in the south. So scary. Okay, so now we can create our box. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue there to give it a couple seconds to set. And while we're waiting for that to set, these little gusset bags, I do not think they're available. Was cut off the end, give it a quick little trim. And you can even use cellophane, the rolled cellophane, but I have these on hand, and since they are no longer available, at least I don't think they are, and I'm just cutting it up one of the seams, flat piece. And I did two of them just to make it a little fuller. Now this ornate garden paper is retiring. I believe they're having a sale right now. You know, the last chance items, and I believe this paper is on it. And just so you know, even the retiring colors, Pretty Peacock, Terracotta Tile, Rococo Rose, what was the other one? Oh, Seaside Spray. That one is a little upsetting. And the Purple Posy. They are the retiring colors. If any of them are your favorites, I suggest you pick up any supplies that you need. Blends, refills for your stamp pads, because it is retiring with the annual catalog. So if you need any of those supplies, I would suggest you pick them up. Okay, so now we want to close these two, and this one is going to get closed over top. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to set that there for a second and grab my tearing tape. Flip what over? This? Okay, grab my tearing tape. If I can just find the end. Oh, there it is. And we're just going to run a piece of tearing tape down the edge. I was going to glue it, but for the glue, let me just grab my other scissors. This will hold much better. And then we're just going to run another piece down this side, right along the edge, just like that. And this flap will hold the other two flaps in place. There we go. So we're going to just close this up. Make sure our sides are pretty straight. Lift the bottom, just like that. And if you need to, grab your bone folder and you can push up from the inside to make sure that sticks. It's a little hard, but it's because it's only a little bit of a edge here. Okay, so now we're going to grab our white. This is going to go in here, but before we do that, let me just grab the corner punch. corner rounder. We're just going to round these corners, just like that. And this one we can add some glue. Insert this onto the inside, and again, just leave an edge. And you can grab your bone folder and make sure it's adhered inside. Okay, so there is the start of your envelope. Now, let me just clear off some of this stuff here. The next thing we're going to do is, while I'm here, and we already took care of it, our little gusset bags. What I did to hold it together was I took a piece of tear and tape and just make sure this is straight. All I'm going to do is run this down one edge, just like that. Make sure it sticks down. It's down on my top of my desk. Let's grab it over here. Okay. Just like that. And then just take the other bag and lay it down right on that tape. Just like that. This way it's one complete piece. Grab your envelope, and we're going to do the same thing on the inside, just so this piece of plastic sticks on the inside of the card, okay? Just going to make sure that's down. It'll just hold it in place so it doesn't go flying out. And all I did was gathered it together just like this. You don't want to be too fussy with it, but take it, hold your envelope open, and we're just going to stick that down inside, just like that. And you can play with it a little bit if you want. Just going to cut this corner off. And we're going to do it to this corner. Okay. It's just a little bit of fill. You could use any coordinating color. Yellow would be nice. Now, I stuck a little hello inside, and I just want to quick show you how I did that. Here's the leftover piece of designer series paper and a straw. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create our own straw. This one I did in the matching DSP. Thanks, Bonnie. But this time we're going to do it in the green. So it's a little bit of a contrast. So you'll see this definitely would not match, but this paper will. So what you're going to do is you're going to run a line of glue along one of the long edges. You're going to grab your straw, and I'm just going to curl this corner a little bit so I can grasp it. And you're going to hold it on your straw, and you're going to start rolling it nice and tight if you can. Okay? And we're just going to, now it's going to, you'll see it'll catch your glue, and you're just going to continue to roll. You'll have a little glue come out, And just keep rolling, keeping it as tight as you can until, you know, the whole piece. I'm using the whole piece. You don't necessarily have to, but I just wanted to make sure that I had a big enough piece. And then you're just going to pull your straw out, no longer needed. Just hold it for a minute so your glue actually attaches. And then just trim your ends so they're straight and it looks like a straw. So there you have your own little straw that matches your designer series paper. We don't really need it to be this big, so I'm just going to cut off the end piece. Oops. And we have our straw ready. Now my hands are sticky. Let me just grab a wipe. Okay, so let's start decorating. I used the daisy punch. Now the daisy punch, I'm not sure if the daisy punch is staying. I know the Daisy Lane stamp set is staying. And I did create some flowers. And I did die cut some greenery before I got on. My little furry friend knocked all my stuff out onto the floor. Okay, so I just punched the daisy in white, bumblebee, and daffodil delight. Now all I did for these little daisies is took my bone folder and just curled each little petal, and you have to be careful because if you do it too hard, they'll have a tendency to pull off because their little petals are thin down at the center. So again, we're going to do it to this one. You're just going to curl your petals, just a little bit of a curl, just to give them a little bit of dimension. And then I took the end of this little pointy tool and I just rounded the center so the petals poke up and they're not laying so flat. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to offset the petals, and we're going to let that dry. Then I cut out a sprig from Forever Fern, and I punched out some leaves. I do not think this leaf punch is available anymore, but it is the leaf punch. You can even cut them out with some dies from Forever Fern. Then I used Bumblebee, and this is the double, I don't even know what I did with it, the double label punch, and it's right here. I took it out. This is in the new catalog, which is exciting. And we're going to stamp hello on the tag. Now the hello comes from, again, the Forever Fern stamp set. Okay, just make sure. And we're just using Memento. I wanted the hello to stand out. So we're just going to stamp our hello, just like that. And we're going to glue it on the bumblebee oval and center that. And we're going to grab one of the gold gems. And we're just going to stick this over here in the corner. My fingers are still sticky. Just make sure that's down. Okay, so we're going to grab our straw. What you want to do, first we're going to close the memento so I don't make a mess. You know me. You're just going to flatten out one end, add some glue, and then we're going to just attach the label. Now this will take a couple minutes to dry, although Tombow glue a few minutes. So we'll put that aside, and we're just going to decorate the box. I love the daisies because we're pulling the daisies from the DSP. And we're just going to attach them. You can add, if you wanted to do this for, have I ever, thanks Bonnie, have I ever pulled what off? What are you talking about, too? Oh, the flowers? Yes, I have. If you were doing this for a little girl, you could do, you know, little girl things, princess, unicorns. You can make it for a birthday. For a little boy, you could, you know, do frogs or trains or anything, little animals. I mean, the possibilities with this envelope are really endless. It doesn't have to be for no occasion. Yep, I have to. It could be for a real occasion, anniversary, birthday, thank you. It's just such a unique little card. I'm just going to pull that up and stick that under like that. Now on this one, I did add a little pink. Let me see if I have a scrap piece of pink. I don't think I do. I'm trying to use up, oh, here we go. Let's use this color. I'm trying to use up a lot of scraps. So let's just do one in this kind of pink, just to offset the white and the yellow. And again, they're so quick and easy. Oh, I got glue on the desk. They're just so quick and easy to make. Just like that. Oops, let me just get these so they're have a little bit of dimension. Just like that. Add a bit of glue. I can hear the alarms on the TV in the background with the storms. It's so scary. Okay. This one we're just going to tuck right over here. I'm going to hold that in place for a second. And I'm going to use the same gold dots. I'm not sure if these are going to be in the next catalog, but I figured I'm going to use up what I have. I actually got all my things together for a garage sale. All the whoops, now that one's gone. All the retired stamp sets. So we'll have a garage sale probably in June. So we're going to add our gold. get rid of that. Now the center, I'm not 100% sure if anybody in... Oh, Bonnie, actually, right now, the storms they're probably out of Alabama, but they went through Alabama and we're going into Georgia. I'm in Pennsylvania, but we've been watching. I mean, we're, weather crazy, so we watch everybody else's weather. I'm using, for the center of the white daisy. Now, to be honest, here's the die. I'm not 100% sure what set this goes to. I haven't searched yet, but I was cleaning my craft room and my vacuum actually sucked this up. So I must have dropped it and didn't know it. So now I have to find out where it belongs. So that is what I'm going to use for the center of the daisy. So we're just going to add some dots of glue and add that to the center. Now for the greenery, this nice fern sprig, let me just clean this off. We're just going to add some glue. Now you want to make sure you add enough because this is going to be sticking to the plastic. So we're just going to lift this up a little and we're just going to insert it right behind the flowers, just like that. We want to make sure that it adheres. And then we're going to take our little leaves. I got glue on my table. And we're just going to add some leaves. Now if you had paper flowers, thanks Karen, flowers, cloth flowers, I would have done that, but I wanted to use Stampin' Up! Products, of course. So you can decorate these envelopes as long as you have the base of it. You can decorate them however you like. Just going to add a few leaves. And we're just let's just add one more. We'll stick this one up here. Just like that. So there's the front. Here's our straw that we're going to just stick in here, just like that. Now, what I did is I grabbed a piece of basic white scrap, the Cajun Craze, and I wanted to use, just grab it, the Dragonfly Garden. He's so beautiful, and I figured, for spring, it's almost spring, so I'm going to just ink him up and give him a stamp. Now for this stamp set, probably the best thing to do, yeah, the leaves are cute, Hunter, is to use the Stamparatus, because where they are rubber, you cannot see through them. So you just have to guesstimate pretty much where you're going to stamp them, because it fills in, but it doesn't fill in completely. But now we have a cute little dragonfly. And we're just going to line him up, punch him out. Put this on the side. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to give his wings a little curl, and then just fold it at the body. And then we're just going to add some glue to the back of him and add him right here to the straw. We'll give him a couple seconds to dry, so let's pull that aside for a second. And we're going to head to the back of the card. The PDF will be in the room in the morning. I have glue. Let me just get a piece of scrap here. When I use the tear and tape. Okay. I will have the PDF in the room, so you don't have to worry about that. So this is the piece, this is the piece that we cut when we did the corners. So we're just going to glue this up. And add this to the inside. Now, like I said, you can, oh, let me just pull this up a second. Let's round it while I'm thinking about it. There we go. And then we'll round this one. Now I created the insert. We're going to put this on the inside. And like I said, you could stamp this if you like. You can leave it plain just so you have enough area or space. Let's see. Maybe we'll do something a little different on the inside of this. I was just looking at this sprig of flowers. So let's try that. Let me just grab one of my blocks. Do something a little different. And I'm going to use the yellow. Since we are, have the bumblebee, I'm going to turn this like this. And we're going to stamp off. So it's just a little bit of a shadow. And that's nice. And we'll just stamp this like that. This way, if you want to write on it, you can write right over the flowers. And this piece is 4 by 5. So this one will be 3 7/8 by 4 7/8. So we're just going to layer this together. Angie, I can answer you after the video, hon. Just like that. And then we're going to glue this into the center right here. Making sure that it's even all the way around. And our flowers now should be pretty dry, and our dragonfly is on there really good. So now here's how the card opens. So we are going to add glue to what would be the front of the card, because this envelope is the front of your card. Pull in our card, and we're going to lay this and while I'm thinking about it, I did it again. It's just quick. There we go. Lay that on the front of the card. Make sure it's adhered. And then there's your card. See, it stands up. It's not weighted down in the front. So here's the front of your card. And then you open it up. And here is the center of your card. It'd be a cute gift if you knew anybody that was in the hospital and you wanted to give them flowers, but they're not allowed to have flowers in their room. Or like I said, for anyone, oh, let's not forget the bow. Quick bow. Almost forgot. And this is the Bumblebee in color ribbon. Believe it or not, this ribbon is also leaving the store. I don't know why. The color is not just this ribbon. So we're just going to grab a glue dot. Still using the glue dots to my paper pumpkin kits. And we're just going to add it. Oh, let's add it right there. Take off that little piece of paper. I'm going to add 2. They get crunched when you peel them. Okay. Now I'm just going to enlarge the loops to this bow since it is a pretty big front of a card. Make sure my loops are even. Pull this down. Let's trim them. And add the bow. Whoops. There we go. And there is tonight's project. So like I said, if you place an order of $25 before Monday, $24 sheets of ribbon, paper flowers, a craft eraser, a stamping dot, and some foam tape. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's project. Sorry that it was so crazy in the beginning. I lost my mind. I'm worried about a friend, and my husband had a bad day today, so I guess it just rubbed off. So have a great night, everybody. Hopefully next week I'll have great internet, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.